Hi, I'm Allison. I'm a reading specialist and I help parents of kids who are struggling with reading. In this video, I'm going to share what to do if your child hates reading and doesn't want to practice. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, go ahead and do that now. And then also hit the little bell so that you're notified every time I post a brand new video about helping your child with reading. First and foremost, I want you to know that if your child hates reading, you are not alone. Right now, go to the comments and type me, because I want you to see, and I want other parents to see, that it's not just a couple of kids that hate reading. There are quite a few kids out there that don't like reading. The good news though is that this is something that's fixable. Your kid doesn't have to hate reading, and in this video I'm going to explain what you can do to kind of get them out of it and to help them learn to love reading. So there are some different reasons why kids might hate reading in the first place, and it's important to be aware and kind of figure out, like, why does my child not like reading? Number one, reading might be hard for them. Reading is something where, like any skill, if a child doesn't feel successful at it, they're not going to want to do it. Like, imagine a sport or an activity that maybe you've tried and you're just not very good at it. You probably, if you don't see yourself making progress, are not going to continue with that activity as a hobby, right? You're going to choose things where you feel like you're making progress, you feel successful. That is what creates enjoyment. So if your kid doesn't like reading and they're not very good at it yet, then that's totally understandable, right? Your child also might not like reading if it is treated either at home or at school as a chore, right? We all know, like, think about little ones, like toddlers. Often they love to help with things like sweeping or just little tasks around the house. And when kids get older, if you try to get them to do it for the first time, often they don't like it. They don't think it's fun, right? And so if we treat reading in any way like a chore, like it's something that they're not going to enjoy and they just have to do, then of course they're not going to want to read. They're not going to want to practice. Another possible reason is that they just haven't found books that they love yet. There are all kinds of books out there. Sometimes when kids are learning to read, the books are so simple and maybe they just don't hit on their interests. Well, as they get better with reading, help them. Go to the library, the public library with them, which is free. Check out some books. Really help them find something that they love. Now, I do want to say that not every child has to be like the biggest bookworm, right? When I was a kid, I always had a stack of books. I was reading under the covers with a flashlight. I was reading in the car. And I loved reading, but not all kids are like that. That's totally okay. However, your child, we don't want them to hate reading. Number one, because it can be such an enjoyable activity. But number two, because if they absolutely hate it, there's so much reading involved in school from K-12 and beyond. It's not going to be very pleasant for them. So we have to at least get them to a point where reading feels easier for them and they enjoy it a little bit more, even if they're not like a level 10 bookworm. So how do we get there? Well, if your child doesn't like reading because it's really hard for them, the time is now to seek help. I have a free mini course, the link is in the caption of this video, that you can take to understand what you can do if your child doesn't want to read and they're struggling with reading. I'll guide you in what to do, but it's really important to take action, because the longer that your child goes on struggling with reading, if you're like, nah, like the school will take care of it, it'll be fine, like the more they're going to hate reading, honestly, because it continues to be hard for them. They see their peers doing better. They feel unsuccessful. They start to lose confidence. So if your child is struggling with reading, they need extra help and they need you to take an active role in getting them the help that they need. Another tip is to make sure that the books that you're giving them to read are not too hard. So if you pick up a book, your child should be able to sound out or automatically read at least 9 out of every 10 words. And if they're maybe only reading like, 8 out of every 10 words or 7 out of every 10 words, and the book is not like pleasant for them, then this book is probably too hard for them and not a great fit. And so you're going to need to find something else. You can ask your child's teacher. You can feel free to reach out for me, and I can help you find the types of books that are appropriate for your child's level. We talked about this one a little bit already, but take them to the local library, find books that they like, and this might be books that you're going to read to them because they're too hard for them, or you're going to, take turns reading pages, and you'll read one page and they'll read one page, and so on and so forth. So go to the library, try to find books, let them, shop for books, and find ones that are interesting to them. I mentioned reading to your child, and yes, you should continue reading to them even as they're learning to read. So there should be time every day where they read to you and you read to them. It doesn't have to be for an extensive period of time, but it's so important. Number one, it's kind of like a commercial for the kids, right? Like it's showing them like, ooh, like look at these fun stories and these interesting things that you can discover when you read. So it's like a commercial for reading. But then it's also helping them work on listening comprehension when they're like talking to you about a story or a book. And that's really important because the books that they can read on their own, if they're struggling a little bit, if they're still learning to read, they're much easier. So the harder books, you read to them and you talk about it, and that's so good for them. Another fun thing to do is to check out some audiobooks, or you can purchase audiobooks and have the kids listen to them while you're driving or on a device. That again is great for listening comprehension. Now, you don't want to treat reading as a chore, but I do want you to know that small rewards are okay. Maybe they read to you 5 days in a row. And so then you go to a special park that you don't normally take them to, or you take them out for, frozen yogurt or whatever, and you mark it on the calendar, right? Small rewards are fine. As time goes on, you can remove those rewards because as they improve, reading will feel easier and they'll be more likely to want to do it. If you want my free mini course, How to Get Your Child to Practice Reading Without the Tears and Frustration, for more in-depth help and ideas, grab that. There's a link in the caption. It is totally free, and I would love for you to have that as a resource to help you along the way. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope that it was helpful. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe before you go, and I will see you in my next video.